Okay. So this is going to be our first class of ethics and governance. So last we had the orientation session of ethics. So today, before starting the session, I'll give a few things I want to make clear. First, we'll try to study this subject such a way that even a student who have not covered their basics of polity, governance, history, economy, they can also understand and relate. So I have prepared my lectures for next 1 week, and subsequently also I will include such examples which are from the current. So that current issue, anyhow, it is expected from the new aspirants also to study. So they can link it. That's the first thing. So it won't be a problem for those who are studying, who have recently joined, and it might be their first lecture of UPSC. So that's the first thing. Second is that, see, this subject is such a way, ethics subject, which involves ethical questions from the diverse subject. It includes international relation, Indian society, governance, environment, science and technology, and other such subjects. So you can link ethics almost all subjects. That's why ethics is called as the interdisciplinary subject. Ethics as a subject. Now, when I say interdisciplinary means that the issues which are social, political, and which might be sometimes controversial, bound to come in the discussion. Otherwise, we won't be able to understand the criticality of ethics, the ethical issues involved in those subjects, which is expected from an intellectual person. Like civil servants who are going to be the civil servant, it is expected from future civil servant to have the critical viewpoint on the different socio-economic and the political issues. But here we need to be careful. We need to be careful in one way that we don't need to give our judgment whether an issue is right or wrong. We need to interpret that from the point of view of constitution, law, Supreme Court judgment, and the different ethical principles and the theories given by the different philosophers. So the social issues, sometimes like the issue of the same-sex marriage, sometimes issues related to the sexual violence against women, such controversial issues which have the ethical angle, ethical issues will come into the discussion. So during that, I expect the maturity from your side. The intellectual maturity, don't judge like commonly in the tea stall or the outside we judge things or we just make fun of those things. There we need certain level of maturity. Sometimes don't judge my statements based on what I said, but the intention behind that. The intention is to understand the topic by understanding the different issues going on in the society. Right? That is going to be the second thing. The third thing is that I may make mistakes in terms of the mostly in a factual way. So in that time, I expect from your side to correct me, honestly. The second is that I need regular feedback from your side whenever class is going fast, too slow, or any kind of issues with respect to the class. I expect you to share your feedback more honestly as well as the freely. Okay, so those are the disclaimers you can say before the class. Okay, so let's start with the syllabus which we had decided for us. I have given you one sheet, and I have also created one Telegram group of only for ethics and governance. We'll continue that group even after the class, even after the finishing in this 1 month. We'll continue that. Why? Because ethics is a subject which keep on evolving in terms of examples, theories, new things might come, examples, so that I can share with you if new things are coming with me even after the class. So we'll keep that, the intention behind that group is to continue giving the mentorship and the help to you in ethics and governance even after the end of this class. Along with that, I will be sharing my notes, handouts, answer copies, and other relevant materials with respect to the this class through that group. So I expect you to be little active, keep eye on that group, so that especially within this one month it would be important. So there I have shared one syllabus also, but by mistake I shared the old, the previous syllabus. But here in the session I have presented the updated one. But nobody questioned that. Nobody shared like this, sir. This flow is different. I think, is it so? Can you see one? Is it the same? Yes. There I had created the philosopher's separate chapter, but it's not there. So that one is the updated one. I'll ask them to give the updated copy of it, and I'll share that updated one in the group also. Okay. So that was the mistake we had in the previous class. Okay. So let's start. So the first is ethics and human interface. Within this, we'll go in this flow. Okay. The first topic within this pillar number 1, ethics and human interface, that will cover the basics. So ethics, ethics and morals. We'll try to focus on this topic in today's class. Okay. Along with this, this is going to be the flow. So this will create index for your class. This index will follow. And as I discussed in the previous class, the initial topics are critical. This ethics and human interface, philosophers, applied ethics. These are the most critical topics, because here is the sessions or the classes where we are going to understand the ethics. The other parts are the application, mostly application or the direct questions you will expect. You remember that class where I discussed the 4 type of question UPSC is asking. The first type of questions are the most difficult, because they ask us to link the ethics, values, morals with the current what is happening, like the constitution, war, environment. So to tackle such kind of question, we need to understand the first 3 chapters the more deep way. We need to internalize them. Then only we can link with the different thing. So you observe the classes are going to be, the initial classes are going to be little slow. Over the period when we will jump to these classes, these are less application based classes. So here we can have the pace. So initial few classes in these 3 are going to be the little slow. So today we are going to start first, that is the ethics and morals. So the first topic you can write, that is ethics. If you observe the syllabus you are having in your hand, there are certain keywords mentioned by the UPSC. Example, ethics, there is value, human value, there is word called accountability, transparency, keywords are there. And the questions you will observe, the UPSC frame the questions using those keywords, right? So whenever the question you are seeing, the keywords, the introduction most of the time we write by defining the keyword. So the first thing we need to do for any topic is to understand the definition and create a definition, simple definition for that particular topic. The background of this ethics I have already given in the previous session. I hope you remember that. Why it is important and what actually it is. So I'm not going to repeat because most of you were present. Right, so you have that, and that's all also in the YouTube. If you want, you can watch that. So the first thing we need to do is the defining the keyword. Defining the keyword. We'll use the exact definition which is used in the academics. This is the definition which we are going to use for the ethics. Ethics refers to principles and standards which guides human action. First write this. Now here if you see, there are two keywords. One is that principles and standards. Second is the human action. Others are not the keywords, right? Like the ethics refers to principles and standards which guides human action. Two keywords are there, right? So in order to understand this concept of ethics, we need to understand these two keywords. So we'll go one by one to understand what is mean of principle and standards and what is then human action. Basically, definition is saying ethics is nothing but some principles, values which can guide our action. Example, why? For example, if you know about let's talk about any history example. If you say Mahatma Gandhi, all of us know, if you have not studied about the history also, in schools we have studied that Mahatma Gandhi is known for the non-violence and the truth, right? So when he says the non-violence, he refused to adopt the violence like Subhash Chandra Bose, Bhagat Singh, who adopted the violence to fight against the Britishers, right? But Mahatma Gandhi said, no, I won't adopt the violence. What I will adopt? Non-violence. So he started the movements like non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement. Now what guided Gandhiji to adopt the non-cooperation movement? The principle, the standard which guided him to adopt the non-violence was, what was that principle or standard? What made Gandhiji to adopt the non-violent means? That means, if we talk about Gandhiji, what made Gandhiji to go for non-cooperation movement instead of revolutionary movement, like the killing the Britishers, throwing the bomb? He didn't adopt that. He adopted the non-cooperation movement like the peaceful movement. What made him to do that? What was the standard? The principle of non-violence. Principle of non-violence made him to act in certain way. This is the person, this is the principle and standard, this is the human action. So ethics is the principle and standard which is guiding the human action, right? So this is the example you can write. Simple example. You can draw like this also. Example also you can draw like a flow diagram. Gandhiji, non-violence helped him to adopt the 1920 non-cooperation movement. Best example. Everyone will write Gandhiji, non-cooperation. But you are showing the whole story by a simple flow diagram in example. So this becomes the example for you. Okay. Clear? Now let's go to the understanding the term. What is meaning of principle and standards? What is principle or standards? Principles or standards. See, principle, standards are nothing but certain benchmark, or you say standard based on which you judge something, based on which you decide something, based on which you choose something. Why Gandhiji chose that? Because of non-violence as the principle. So it creates the benchmark for us what to choose, what to refuse, to decide what is good, what is bad. So these principles, standards are nothing but the benchmarks for us. Now the question is how these principles and standards are decided. How Gandhiji learned the value of non-violence. How Bhagat Singh learned the value of patriotism, courage, to fight even the Britishers? That's the question now. Now the question here is that how this principle and standards origin. The origin of these principles and standards. Their origin, you can clearly understand the influence, if you know about the Gandhiji, the influence of the different Raja Harishchandra. You know that there was an article which changed his life. Or if you say how the tribals have learned the value of environmental compassion. How they learned that value. Because of their custom, culture, how you learned or a civil servant learns the value of empathy. Any person learns the value of empathy. There are different factors. It may be due to the upbringing, due to the education, due to any law also can help us to understand that or decide that what is standard or what is the principles. Here, there are many principles or standards like empathy is also a principle, a standard. Equality is a standard given in our that you have to treat everyone equally. So the constitution also helps in originating. Here I am not giving the very broad note because we have the topic called determinants of ethics. There we will cover the all aspects. But just to understand this keyword, we are discussing in very brief what it is, how it originates, what is the example. Just to understand the definition holistically, we are bringing this. Done? Now see, you know her? You know her? Everyone knows her? She is the star sports person of India. Sheetal Devi. She is a para-athlete. But now she is the first para-athlete who has been selected as the normal athlete in the team of normal athlete. Now she doesn't have hands, but still she chose archery as her profession, her career. Now she was able to win at the international level. How? What made her? The question here is, what made her to fight all the challenges she was having? What made her to fight the challenges she had in the path to become a physically challenged person to win at the international level? So what made her? Those are the principles and standards which she followed in order to become that. Tell me the standard and principles she followed. Example? Discipline is one of the example here. Discipline she follows as an standard in her life to be disciplined. Yes, very good. Any other? Determination, very good. What is determination? That means even if the setback is coming, even people are criticizing, how can you do? You don't have your hand. Even it is unthinkable for us. We are busy in criticizing, sir, polity is very long. Sir, this is, I'm feeling bored by reading the history. I don't remember the facts in the history. We are busy. We are not able to tackle that. Imagine a person, archery, without hand. Somebody done that, right? Maybe ideal or maybe exceptional, but somebody has done that. Right? So this is the point is she remained determined despite all the social challenges. She's girl also. Imagine girls have a different set of challenges, social challenges. Right? So despite that she could do discipline, determination, any other? Consistency, very good. Self-confidence, yes. Self-belief or confidence. Belief that I can do. Yeah. So the point here is that what we are getting here, the standard and principle which guided Sheetal Devi to to achieve those things, to work, to adopt that profession. So this is ethical story. The ethics are the standards and principles which guides us to do certain activity, human action. This is the human action. These are the standards, and this is nothing but ethics. Okay, so these are the principles and standard example which guided the civil engineering. Right example. You can use this example. One historical example. This is the sports example, current example. So what you can write here. Seetal Devi, guided by principles of discipline, courage, or self-belief, this is an example we can use, more real life example. So understood what is the standard and principle? These are the benchmarks which you set for yourself. Now let's set some benchmark for our class also. Can we? Do you think it is required? Are we disciplined? What is the one parameter to check the discipline? Tell me one parameter to check the discipline. What is that? Time. That is nothing but the punctuality. Now you understood me? What I am going to do? Punctuality is one of the characteristics or to determine whether a person is disciplined or not. Yes, right? That means the discipline, you only said the discipline made Seetal Devi to act like that. Now we want to become civil servant. Now do you think discipline is required? Plank. Here it is there. You can give. Okay. Now discipline is required for civil servant to become civil servant. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Now to be disciplined, one of the thing is that we should be punctual. Yes? Yes. So can we be punctual to the class? What is the class time? What is the class time? 2:30. Can we come at 2:30? No. But we have to be punctual and disciplined. So see, the thing is, there are two concepts I had to bring later, but now I am bringing. There is one word. Have you heard morals? Morals. Have you heard it? Similar, right? Ethical, moral, be ethical. What's the difference between them? Don't write this. We'll come. But since the discussion came, I am bringing it. Moral is something which is more individualistic. Individual decides what is right and wrong. Someone of you said like we can't come at 2:30. Right? So that is the individual decision. Many of you came on time, 2:30. Because it was, nobody told you to come on time. You could have come late also. Nobody stopped you, na? Did anyone stop you? No, you came on late. It's okay, you can also come at late. Nobody told you to come at exactly 2:30. Class, everybody knows at 2:30, but nobody told you to come at the 2:30. So, you yourself decided I should be on the time. That is the moral you decided for you to be punctual. So, the punctuality is the moral for you. Clear? Now, let's decide one rule for us. A norm for all of us, including me. The norm, I'm asking you, can we decide a norm that whoever will come after 2:30, there they will write their name, then sit it there. Now see, I can't decide. I want everyone to decide. If you say okay, we can do that, including me. If I come late, I will write my name, there it will be written, I feel bad to come late to the class. So let's start ethics from ourselves. How many of you are in favor of this motion? How many of you are against the motion? So based on that, we can have passed this law for all of us, including me. I'm saying, see, it's like a school where a monitor will be there. Whoever will talk, name will be written. How many of you have got? Sorry. How many of you have got your name on the blackboard of your school for any reason? I also. So it is like that, but here the difference is that your faculty name can also come. I'm also the part of it. Second is that it's a self accountability. That is, you have to write, nobody else. Then go there. The thing is, now tell me, if we do that, if we do from tomorrow, first of all, let's decide. How many, those who are in favor of motion, raise your hand. Hands down. Those who are against the motion of adopting that norm, raise your hand. Okay. So can we consider motion as passed? So the speaker says motion is passed. Okay. So from tomorrow, the person who will come late to the class will write their name there and sit. Okay. One time it can be, then we can improve. So that's the thing. Now tell me, today many came late. Do you think tomorrow the number of students who will come late will be less? Yes or no? Yes. Why late? Because the norm set by all of us. The norm now, it's not internal. Earlier, the punctuality norms was internal. That was the moral decided by the individual. Now the norm is social. That means decided by the group. That is the external principle standard decided by the group. That is ethics. When the principles and standards are decided or set by the society, collective or external factor, it is called ethics. But if your principal standards are internal, you only are deciding, that's what is that? Is that clear? So earlier that punctuality was moral, but now since we have decided that as a norm of all of us, it is ethics. Right? Other what difference is? Now tell me, which will be more flexible? Ethics or moral? Moral is more flexible. I can change inside me anyway. Now who knows? Right? But ethics are more stable. Now we have decided changing it to bad will require the agreement of all of us. It's difficult. Right? So one is flexible, another is. Which is more enforceable? Ethics or moral? Ethics is more enforceable. Because there is peer pressure. Again, see, the difference here between ethics and law. We understood moral and ethics. Now, ethics and law. Difference is that if you will come late, what is the punishment? Sent to the jail? There is no punishment. What is the punishment? Is the social and peer pressure. That is the pressure of being maybe getting named there, what the other person will think. The social pressure makes us to do certain thing. That means this factor, which is the standard, which is decided by whom? Society. Now, if someone is not following the decided punctuality thing here, everybody will see in a certain way. That we don't want. Do we? No. So, if we don't want, still it is regulating our action. Despite I know that if I come late, nobody is going to deregister me from my class. It's not like I have paid 5 fees, so I will get the class. I know everything. There is no punishment. But still it is regulating my action. It is because it is the collectively sanctioned. So that is the difference between law and ethics. Law have certain legal measure to enforce the standard. You can't murder everyone. That's a standard decided by law, and it has the punishment if you don't follow. Now what we decided as collective is the norm. Again a standard, but it is a collective standard we have decided. If you won't follow that, there is no punishment except the social pressure. Right? So the question here is that why we need that? Why we need this kind of scenario when we can make law? The question here is, can we make law for everything? Can we make law that if a student comes late, we should have a 1 week of jail? Not possible. Right? Not possible. We can't regulate everyone. If you go out last, if you are going out from the class at the last, you're listening to me, right? You're at the center. So if you go last and if you're not switching off the lights before leaving the room, if you're not switching the light, you can't have punishment for that. Like you didn't do, so go to the jail. That's not possible. But still we want lights should be switched off. Yes or no? It is important for environment. Forget about the electricity bill of academy. That much we know that we are in the generation where environmental sustainability, harmony is very important. Students from the Delhi, they are leaving the Delhi now. They are coming to other places because of what? Pollution. So we are aware about it. So we want to be safe, the environment to be safe, right? So we want certain thing in our society, certain way, which cannot be translated in the form of law. So for that only we need what? Ethics and morals. Getting? So now I think you are getting the clarity in terms of writing examples, facts, notes. This example is very good. The second example is this. The second word is, see, I like cricket, so some examples movie will also come, don't worry. I know in the South India, especially here in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, movies are too much popular. That much is not there in our state, so movies example will also come. All sector example will come. Okay. Now the last term is, what is that? Human action. Human action. Write down, human action. These are intentional behaviors. That word intentional is very important. These are intentional behaviors or choices or decisions are the human action. Intentional behavior, choices or decision. That means if I ask, I call Mahesh to stand here and put a gun in his head and ask him go and slap somebody. Okay, Charan, not this Charan, that Charan. If I ask him to slap, now will you call his act as unethical? Huh? Yes or no? Slapping someone is unethical, right? Slapping someone is unethical. What Gandhiji said, if somebody slaps you, so the other one. Right? We can't adopt the non-violence. Violence. So slapping someone is wrong, unethical. So if Mahesh goes and slaps Charan hard, too hard, okay, so that we all consider unethical, wrong. But if I ask him to do that on the gun point and ask him to slap, will you call that action as unethical? Yes or no? Yes, still unethical. Here the unethical act will be on me, the person who is forcing them to do that. That means the Mahesh is not doing intentionally. The action he is making is not intentional. So something which is unintentionally done, ethics doesn't apply on him. It is the force which is making him to do that, which is unethical. So here comes the feeling wala part. That we can't say that I did something because I felt that way. It requires the reasoning. I know that it is going to harm, still I am doing it. Then your act is unethical. If you know that it is going to help the person, then you are doing ethical acts. So the intentional act, which is based on the reason, not just mere feeling. I felt of slapping, I slapped, without any consequence and reasoning or consequences. So intentional behavior, choice, and decisions are the human action. Again, human action, not non-human action. That's an animal action. We cannot judge from the ethical point of view. That we discussed in the previous class. Right? Intentional. This is nothing but the practical expression of ethics. The human action determines the practical expression. Actually, the ethics get expressed through the human action. Until and unless you're not observing the action of the human, you can't know the ethical trait. Basically, what standard ethical principle made him to do that? Example, this person. You all know Rinku Singh? Everyone? Okay. Now, he is one of the cricketer, star cricketer in India, and who hit that winning shot of Asia Cup final against Pakistan. Okay. To give more context. Now, this person actually donated some of his prize money for the helping unprivileged cricketer. Is there any rule of BCCI to do that? No. But still he did that because he is having some ethical trait. Now, how did you know that Rinku Singh is having certain values? Now, from this act, what values you can derive? What you can think? You just know this person through this act. Now, tell me, from this act, what do you think about the personality of Rinku Singh? What traits you identify? Tell me the traits. So here we are going to write about the ethical traits which we can derive from his act. What are the ethical traits?
Humanity and helping.
Yes. So here we get the helping nature. Any other? Empathy, very good, towards the unprivileged. Very good. Any other? Any other? We are, what values we can see from the act of Rinku Singh? Kindness, humility, kindness, very good. Very good. Yes. Ethical terms are coming up. Very nice. Any other? Yeah, social service, or what we can see is the spirit of service. Service. The idea of giving back to society. He felt that Rinku Singh was unprivileged, belonged from unprivileged family, right? He was from the poor family. Still, he got this opportunity to become famous and earn money. Now he is feeling the sense of responsibility towards those who could not get that. So the feeling of service, the feeling of giving back to society, It is a principle given by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar also. He got the opportunity among so many population of scheduled caste, unprivileged section of our society. He was one of the most educated person of that time. He felt that responsibility to give it back to society, to work for those unprivileged section of society. That is the principle of giving back to society. And I believe all of you having that value. You got the opportunity to get educated, but go to the ground, you will see there are many in millions who are not getting that opportunity to get educated and sit in these classes and get education. So I have that hope that tomorrow when you become a civil servant, you give that thing back to the society. Work for those people who are unprivileged. So that should be one of your motivation to do that. You got a good college to study, education, those things you were privileged. But many places like in Bastar, northeastern region, or in the poor pocket of India are not getting that privilege. Right? So that is the thing, that is giving back to society is reflected through it. So the human action is the practical expression of ethics. practical expression of ethics. It is expressing, this action is expressing the ethical standard. So two way we saw, in the case of Seetal Devi, in this case, the principles which guided his action. In the second way, what we can see, the action which is showing the principle. So that is the two words we understood from them. Human action also helps you to judge the ethical standard of a person. If a person is, let's say, coming late, you judge that person based on that person is not having the value of punctuality. If a person is coming on time every time, you judge that person that yes, he is having this value of punctuality. Getting? So this is the example, right example. Third example will be, see, from here only you can make, no need to write 1 million hearts in the best let's say. Right. Rinku Singh helping unprivileged cricketers. Because we have to write short example. No? So Rinku Singh, in bracket, you can write that, everybody knows it. Helping unprivileged cricketers. Unprivileged cricketers. You can write these examples, okay? It's not like the cricketer we can't write. You can write the movie stars. You can write the real life examples. We can write the Mahatma Gandhi. We will write the administrator. So you can clearly write these things. So what you wrote? Rinku Singh helping unprivileged cricketers, expressing the ethical traits of empathy, kindness, service. Clear? Then now let's establish the interrelation. 3 words we understood from here. One is that, okay, ethics is something which, ethics is nothing but the standards or principle which guides the human action. These are the 3 words we establish. Now we need to draw one flow diagram which help us to establish the relationship. See, the relationship, that is the human being. This is the, which painting? Which painting? Prehistoric painting, Bhimbetka painting. See, the diagrams, they have not even circle. They have this weapon and then have the like this animal like this. We draw these things in answer writing of art and culture, like prehistoric paintings, this stone paintings, those things. So this is the depiction of human as per the Stone Age. Okay, so the human actions are determined based on the certain principles. Here you can draw this, and what we can draw is that here it guides our human action. So here, this is the principles. These are the human action. Now this human action can be either right or wrong. Based on the principle, our human action becomes either right, wrong, ethical, unethical. good, bad. So we judge these things based on the what principles we are following. It guides our human action, and human action either decides that as a right, wrong, ethical, unethical, good, bad. What principle you are applying. Clear? Now, here we'll understand other aspect also. Now, these principles are decided by certain factors. These are nothing but the determinants which decides the principles that we have discussed: religion, education, right, upbringing, peer pressure. Those we'll discuss. Determinants are there which decides our principle, which guides human action to be right and wrong. Getting the relationship? Is it clear? Yes. Okay. Now we'll go further here. Just wait. We'll go further in the sense thing. See, now our human action we understood from the personal life, just for understanding. Now we need to bring in our, the more academic, to bring it academic. Whenever this human action is, this human action can be related to environment. This human action can be related to this human action can be related to your international relations. This human action can be related to the social issues. This human action can also be related to the how you are treating the technology. Other. That means just I'll give you time to write. Just understand this part, please. Just 2 minutes. See, now we understood that ethics is nothing but the principles which guide human action. Now we need to bring more practical thing, more practical in the academic thing. Now our action with respect to the environment will be called as the environmental ethics. That means the principles, standards, values which guides human action with respect to environment, that will be called as environmental ethics. You're getting? We are creating definition. You don't have to memorize different definition for everything. Understand carefully again. If the question is on environmental ethics, how you are going to write? Environmental ethics refers to principles and standards guides human action with respect to environment. Clear the definition? Ethics in international relation definition. Ethics in international relation refers to principles, values, standards guiding the human action or the decisions with respect to the international relations or the geopolitics. Those words you can change later. But the framework you are getting for the definition. See, you are going to get many words UPSC are going to give. They will change as the social media ethics. You can't memorize a definition for every word. You need to have one. Now UPSC can't say that it is wrong. It's nothing but the definition, framework for the definition. And any ethics topic, this is going to help you to write a definition. I am giving you this framework for your initial time. Overall, if you want to memorize all the definition by yourself, that's your choice. You can do that. But to be smart, to become a smart, instead of memorizing all the definition, I'll invest that time in other part. By writing best definition, you are not going to get half mark extra, and by writing this definition, but by investing that time somewhere else, I can get half mark extra than you. That is the smartness in the preparation, where you are able to conserve your energy and where you are able to channelize that conserved energy. Everybody is studying for almost around 6 hours, 8 hours. Nobody is studying very high. On an average, I'm asking. Someday they can study 12 hours. Every day, nobody can do that. Right? So don't judge yourself or you're studying less. If you're consistent 8 hours, 6 hours regularly, you're doing good. Now, within that, a person studying 3 hours current affairs, and one is studying 1 hour. The person who is studying 1 hour will get more benefit. Because he will be channelizing that 2 hour in optional or some other thing, where there is more possibility of getting mark. So it's all about the decision. So this can be new ethics I can give here. Like there are bioethics, right? There is media ethics. There is medical ethics. There is ethics in civil services. Now, the ethics in civil services, or you can say here, administrative ethics. Administration. It's nothing but the principles which guides the action of administrators, how they are taking decision. Like there are principles, right? Integrity you should have, compassion you should have honesty. Those are the principles which guides the decision making, choices, action. If you want to replace the human action, you have the keywords here. Human action, nothing but the choices, decision and behavior. So you can write like here, the principal standards which guides the choices, decisions and behaviors of civil servants or administrators are nothing but administrative ethics. Clear? Do you need a separate definition for every topic, or is it enough? It can be used to create the definition. Okay, so let me this is the problem actually my students face, because I keep on drawing flow diagram and this mind maps. This is nothing but the environmental ethics. IR have the ethics in international relation. This is social ethics. This is technological ethics. This is administrative. So whenever I draw a flow diagram, don't write notes. I'll give time. Okay, that much I can do. So this is the flow diagram. It covers your whole ethics. Any topic you can define. Now one thing you will observe, first write down. Now there is no addition. Okay, so for reference, you can follow this. DK Balaji, Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude for reference book. But I don't think, if you need, but I can assure you one thing is that notes will be sufficient. I'll be providing handouts also. But still, if you not need for a reference, you can read. That's my responsibility to share with you that what resources I'm taking reference, but from other sources also I'm taking, mostly current affairs and bringing examples. These flow diagrams are not there in the books, in the book. But for the conceptual understanding, if you want to read, you can read. But as a mentor, what I will suggest is that invest the time to some other subject right now. Because polity, economy, geography and history, these are 4 subjects. You should be conceptually very good. Because these 4 subjects are important in the prelims. Mains, this is only for the mains, right? So instead of, because right now you need to understand those things. So if you are investing anyhow 2 hours for this class, which includes the revision, which includes the notes, which includes the handout, which includes the test of answer writing. So I don't think the more effort is required here in this subject. So better to use that time on other subject. Once you are done, let's say, on other subject, you have time, you can go and refer this book. And wherever you find gap in my notes or in the understanding any topic, you can refer for that. But if you start reading the whole book from the scratch, it will consume a lot of time. From that point of view, since you are a beginner and you have to cover other subject, you can prefer it later on. That strategy you can follow. Suppose one topic you are not getting of any topic from class. One way is that you can come to me, you can ask anytime about that particular topic. But still, if you are not getting, second option, you can go to the YouTube, you can search that particular topic for the better clarity. Third option, you can ask ChatGPT, teach me like a child of 5th class. It will tell you very simple. And it will ask him to teach me in Telugu, it will do that also. So that's also the option. And then still if you're fine, go for the reference book. Okay. So those are the all things I should tell, not like you should not just depend on the class. But one thing is for sure, this is more than enough to get good marks. More effort is required in writing. More effort, because question you observe, like, right? It's not direct questions. So the content, it's not like the history subject where the question came from one particular book. They are creating the question based on the current issues. Now, it's not like the question will directly come from this book. The topic they will choose and create the question from the current or the whatever they will understand. So, it's not like the question will directly come. What you will get from here is the concept. If you are getting the conceptual clarity from the class or anywhere else, if you are able to understand and if you are able to use that knowledge to write an answer, there is no need of another book. And there will be flowery notes will also be available. If you are able to use them in your answer, then good. Otherwise, not important. Okay. So that is about the note reference as well as the sources. Okay. Is it clear? Do you have any doubt here? Till now? No. Okay. Now this is the thing. Here in this book, the definition of ethics it has given. Listen. Ethics in common parlance is a set of principles that guide human action in a way acceptable by the society. What it has given? In a way acceptable by the society. Right? But if you see the definition I have given, I have not used that term. The reason is this. Understand this. Subjectivity. You all know this is true. Visa case 2019, everyone is aware about it. So I expect the highest level of sensitivity at this point of time to discuss this topic as well as the maturity. Okay, we all know about this issue. This was a national issue at that point of time, and there is no dispute in the unethical act this issue had. This was the most unethical, heinous crime conducted by few people, 4 people, right? Right? So, in a society, we all condemned it as unethical. So, the standard which we used to judge this act as unethical was the humanity. A human being, in case of the DISA, cannot be treated as a means for the individual gratification. The empathy towards that person. You can't conduct violence against a human being. Those are the standards, undoubtedly, no debate, criticized by everyone as unethical as well as illegal. No question, right? Here, we all condemned it based on certain common standard as a society we are having. Right? Clear. Now that we know the standard. Now see this. This happened there. Right? This was the next step. Encounter of those. It was supported by the society in large. I'm not saying everyone. In large, society said it was the instant justice and justice to the DISA. Am I right? The society, I'm not saying what I am saying. The society considered it as a right act. Yes or no? Yes. There was statement of his father also that police did right thing. Because the standard of the society was justice should be given and justice should be given instantly. Because justice delayed is justice denied. So society supported based on certain standard instant justice. That was the standard. Based on that, this act of those police personnel who did this encounter was right as per the society. Again, We are not going to bring ourselves here. We are analyzing what society thought based on what they decided this. Clear? So it was, the encounter was ethical or unethical as per society? Ethical, right? But what this judgment says, the judgment of Supreme Court as well as the High Court, the observation says Hyderabad rape murder 5 years after encounter of accused plead to book cops for murder drags in the High Court. Now the law says, the other school of ethics, you can say, or the morality or the law says, the nature or the way the justice was given was not right. That means that was, since that was violating the law, it was unethical. So the standard now changed for few people or for the judiciary. For the judiciary, standard is that rule of law. That means a person should be punished as per the law by following a procedure. That is what standard. Using that standard, judiciary is judging the act, that is the encounter, was not right. Now same issue, same case, one way it is right, ethically right, from the society's ethical standards point of view, but from the judiciary or the law or the legal point of view, that is the legal ethics point of view, it is wrong. What you are observing here? What you are observing here? Subjectivity is there. Again, we are not saying what is right, what is wrong. We are seeing independently one issue and seeing the dual nature of rightness and wrongness. Am I right here? Okay, you are getting now what I am trying to say? Now, the question here is, the big question here is, now how to decide what is right and wrong? We don't need to go into that point right now. What we need to understand here is that ethics involves subjectivity. That concept we need to bring. So we cannot be rigid at one side like I am only the right. In the case of ethics, there is no one side. There are always two sides. But it's not true. Like we can't say always. I told in the class once, in certain cases there is only one side. Here you can't say justify. Sorry. Here you can't justify. There is one side. Unethical. You can't justify that the one person was, the minor. Or you can say that I did because of some misunderstanding. No, there is no justification. In case of national security, in case of this sexual violence against women, in case of violence against children, in case of corruption, justifications are not there. In certain case, there is no dilemma. There is only ethical issues. Ethical dilemma is case where you have the two things. Now which choose? Both are saying certain way right. I am in dilemma whether it is right or this is right. That's the dilemma. But in case here you can't have dilemma. As a civil servant, see, some people can still criticize the girl was wearing short. There are such foolish people make the statements like that to justify this also. Such kind of cases. Like recently there was case of, you can use most recent example as the Kolkata, that doctor case, right? That example you can write. Okay. So this I brought because, see, this is important. Understand this issue not from a common person, but from point of view of a civil servant, because this kind of issues can be brought in your interviews also, because you are local here. I could have brought here Nirmaya case or there is a Kolkata case. I prefer to bring this issue because it is more relevant for you to understand this, to think about this issue, right? For me, I can bring from North Indian. I mean, you should not segregate like that. It's a national issue. But in interviews, they ask more regional issues, which impacts the local. So the issue was here the subjectivity. Okay. So write one point. This point, subjectivity. Ethical standards and principles. Ethical standards and principles varies from person to person, place to place, as well as time to time. Example. Police encounter in Disha case 2019. Disha case 2019. What you will write? You can write two. One way, socially ethical, legally unethical. From different perspective, having the different ethical judgment. The same action has been judged in two ways. So that shows the subjective nature of ethics. So if so, how we can judge? How we can judge? I mean, where to stand? Which is right and wrong? How we can decide? How we can resolve our ethical dilemma? Now, see, there is. It's very tough, to be really honest. It's very tough to decide in such cases because they involve not only one or two ethical principles, but multiple ethical principles are involved. So, judging in certain cases are very difficult, right? But there is common or in general, what you can say, that consensus among the people, certain things considered as wrong, certain principles have been given which are used, universally accepted as the principle through which we can judge and act right or wrong. And you understood why I didn't keep this word socially acceptable, accepted by the society? Because acceptance by the society may not always be right. Right? So how we can keep that in definition? If we keep that in the definition, that means definition is something which is acceptable, right? So when we say the socially acceptable, but in that example we saw that though socially acceptable, but still in some way it is unethical. Now dowry, if it is socially acceptable, boys got smile. Huh? So if it is socially acceptable, is it ethical? No. The girls are saying no, but they are not saying no. Okay. So it is though socially acceptable, but unethical. Right? So we in definition, that's why I didn't keep the acceptable to society, because acceptability is itself subjective. One particular time that sati practice was acceptable to society. People used to praise. But now this is that is unacceptable. Right. So that's why I refuse to. I mean, I don't think that is suitable place to keep in the definition. So that's why I didn't keep. But still, in the subjectivity, when we mention, we can use that term acceptability to society. Okay. Now I was talking about anything universal which is applicable everywhere. You can use this. It says that Atmani Pratikulani Paresham Na Samacharit. Now I came to the Sanskrit class. See, this is, I mean, it's your choice if you want to use or not, but I have used in multiple places this. What it says, it is the quote, the sloka or these lines are from Mahabharata. Okay, what it says that Atmani means soul, self. Atmana, self, to self. Pratikulani means something undesirable, something undesirable. That means something bad. Pratikulani means opposite. Prati, that means something which is against. Paresam means to others. Samcharit, to act. What is samcharit? Yes, one should act, to act. Means that we do not want, or we should not do something to others which we don't want others to do to ourselves. If I don't want to be treated in certain way, I should not treat other person in that way. You getting? If I don't want to misbehave with someone, if I don't want, you should not behave with me in an aggressive manner, or you should not scold me, or you should not use the abusive words towards me. Same I should not do to you. That is the universal principle. And the same principle was also given by Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant in his principle of categorical imperative, where he says that one should not do to others what he does not want others to do to himself. And same is written in the Mahabharata also. Okay, so this creates a kind of universal principle. If I want to be treated as fair manner, I should not adopt the unfairness to others. If I want to be treated as respectfully, I also should behave with others respectfully. Right? Now apply to the Disha case. If I don't want others to adopt the exploitation, sexual exploitation towards me, I should not conduct the same thing towards others. Right? If we follow that principle, then we can call it as the principle of common or the universal standard which can be used to judge a action. Okay. So now, do you want the meaning of each word? Yes. Okay. See, Atmani means to self. Pratikulam means undesirable. Paresham means to others. Na means no, not. Samcharit means to act. So in the common way, what we can say is that the exact statement one should not do to others which is undesirable. Which is undesirable to oneself. Understood there? This sentence? Clear? This can be used in multiple places. You can either use as conclusion, you can use as introduction, you can use as ethics essay also. Many places we can use this. So introduction you got, definition, conclusion you got, and in between whatever they will ask, the flow diagram if you will draw, you can write anything. Just what you have to change is the principle and standards. Whenever they are asking, okay, first write. That's it, stop. Clear? So this is the measure through which we can use. There is another quote we can use. Actually, I brought that to write there, but we'll start from tomorrow. Let's say the true measure of any society, right? the true measure of society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. It was said by Gandhiji. How you treat the most vulnerable member of your society, that is poorest of the poor, how you are treating that, that shows the measure of any society, that is how ethical that society is. That means if you are in your office as a district collector, how you treat that security guard, how you treat that peon, how you treat that cook, how you treat that gardener, that will determine how ethical your office is. Are you treating very politely with your equals or the seniors, and you are treating like animals to others? Right? So this is the idea Gandhiji gave. That's also called as the what he gave one theory. The idea is that whenever you are in dilemma, think about the most vulnerable person you know in your life and see whether your action or judgment is helping that person or not. That way you can decide where your action is right or not. If it is helping the most vulnerable, that means it's ethical. If it is not, then it's unethical. That's called as Gandhiji's talisman. His quote is also similar on Gandhiji's talisman. That we'll cover in the ethical dilemma topic later when we'll cover the case study. There we use those things. Okay. So the true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable member. You understood the topic, right? How you are treating the most vulnerable. The same thing can be used in the quote-based question. What you need is that understanding the quotes. That's why we use many quotes. So today's lecture, if you see, you got the definition, you got the flow diagrams, you got the examples from the recent as well as the social issues, historical. You got the quotes, right? So as I promised in the session also, we will bring these things and we'll bring these things in the upcoming classes also. Along with that, I told that there will be the activities. So you have to participate, you have to come out of your comfort zone. What is a comfort zone? Is that sitting there and just writing notes? No, you have to participate, because if you actually guys, if you want the improvement, you need to do that. And you also know, I know that you know that it is required, that just that the hurdle is there, which pushes us back to do that. So one activity from tomorrow it will start. So I expect come on time, and I also expect you to admit your mistake if you are doing. You should be having that courage and that humility to accept. Okay, I came late. I will write my name. What's wrong? Next time I'll improve. Next time I'll. So that acceptance of your mistake is also a moral character. If you start fearing like I won't enter to the class, that means you can't grow. You need to accept that. So in that line, you have one paper. Now what you have to do is that you have to close your notes. Everyone please close your notes. Open the paper you are having given to you. Now you have to write something. If you trust me, you can share your notes with me. I'll also write the same thing. And if you don't, you can skip your name, but you have to give that paper to me. Okay. So the thing is, what you have to do is that, see, this is important because we write personal examples in the ethics, and it need not to be huge things. Okay. You don't have to write the huge thing you have done, like the unethical or simple ethicality. Might be switching off the lights, might be the following the traffic rules, anything. The simple thing. You have to think. We have still 8 minutes. So within that, you have to write small definition or whatever you understood about ethics, and then 3 examples of ethics in your life, 3 examples of ethics, unethical act within your life, either you have done or you have seen. Okay, do that. This is the first step of your answer writing. I've used very informal language based on very general understanding. Ethics is something which tells me what should I do and what I should not. It's like a mentor who is observing me, my actions, behavior, choices, and telling me you are doing right or wrong, but it doesn't punish me, still controls my action. Very, very general, because it said like, what do you understand? I mean, what it means to you. So we need a general understanding of ethics. But we write the academic path. Okay, time up. See, when we write about the ethical examples, just after this we'll close, mostly the examples we write sometimes our personal examples. There, we choose such example. This is very critical. It should not be something where you are creating like the very extraordinary thing. It should not reflect that you are just putting their fact, something exaggerating, right? It needs to be very simple, which we follow. Suppose you are creating that the thing is that there was a huge fire in our building. Then I entered inside. I protected 5 people and came out like a Superman. So that is not acceptable. Okay, I mean, you might have done that. That's exception, but that is generally, if somebody will read, you might not convey that in the right manner, which reflect the originality. It might sound like you are just putting there to show you are like a hero, right? So don't do that. For example, like simple examples we have to, because you can write this much only. So what I write, like the choosing NGO over corporate job for giving back to society. So here I am not mentioning any name of organization. I am not mentioning my name, not mentioning nor the organization where I was working. So identity is not revealed. You have to be careful. You don't have to write your name or place or identity. I mean, which is revealing about yourself. Second, turning off tap water when not in the active use. I always do that. I mean, not active use means, suppose I am cleaning my hand, I just took the soap and while scrubbing the hand, during that time I switched off. So that can be the simple example, but that shows your ethics towards the water conservation value. Then not throwing garbage on road, simple, but still it's showing your the civic sense. Right? Now the important thing is the unethical act. Should I trust you? Okay. Yes. Okay. So something, stealing money from my mother's purse when I was actually I did that just to become cool in front of other friends, so that I can purchase something which we had decided we'll purchase. We decided to make some vehicle, something through that old ring of the bicycle. So I did that. Lied to my friend about Vizag trip. Okay. Now, forgot meeting with villagers despite scheduled by me. I had scheduled one meeting, but I forgot. The point here is that what I'm trying to tell you, see, you can judge me, but the point is, it should not write unethical act, something which is shown like a criminal. Right? So a child is stealing money from the purse, it is forget, you can forgive that person. So examiner can forgive, children do that now because of lack of unawareness. But now I consider that unethical. Now lie to my friend, sometimes we do, then getting the realization. Here one point is important. Later what you have to write here? Later I seek apology from my friend after realization. So you should not say that you're a person who lies. We are also not like the superhumans. We are human, we make mistake. What is important is that do you recognize your mistake and accept your mistake? And that's what tomorrow I want to see. If you come late, do you go back, or do you accept that and with humility? That is important, and that is expected from the civil servant. Not making mistake is not expected, but after making mistake, definitely it should not be the crime. Are you accepting that or not? Next is the forward meeting. So these are simple, which is not showing like a crime, but still showing you accept your weaknesses and you recognize them. Okay, so that was all for today's class. If you are having any doubt, any query regarding this class, either you can post on the Telegram group, or I will be here, you can ask me. Okay, thank you so much for today's class.